Hey everybody, it's Justin from Bittner and I was just in Puerto Rico on vacation, and when my sons and I took a fishing trip, the captain just would go on and on to me about how he loves Ryobi power tools. But not the normal power tools we use here in the shop, not the Joel Driver saws, but more of your home accessories that can be powered by this Ryobi battery. Down in Puerto Rico, you get a lot of hurricanes, you have a lot of power outages, you have a little bit of an inconsistent power grid too. So people there are being very creative in trying to figure out ways to continue your normal daily life, have those accessories and things that you need when those emergencies do occur. And he's found that by owning about 20 of these batteries, he can charge them with his solar system during the day, and then family members and friends who might not have that solar system at their home are able to have lights, fans, bug zappers in a tropical environment, but most importantly, water pumped into their homes. In a lot of places, if you don't have electricity, you don't have water. So that one's super important. I wanted to explore a lot of these today because, in talking with him, I'm like, I do own a decent number of Ryobi tools, but really none of these are tools. They're other things. So I wanted to take a look at this stuff. Maybe there's some cool things you haven't seen before, but also talk about more what I see Ryobi doing is more becoming a lifestyle brand with a whole wing of their tools or machines, let's say. None of this is sponsored. Just right up front, this is not a Ryobi rah-rah. It's more that I'm just interested to see that they're going in this direction. And I do know that a lot of other tool companies are starting to go in that, and I hope they do it more as well. But I have some neon green here, so let's look into this stuff a little bit more. Today on Bittner. When we're talking about how I think Ryobi is going into a lifestyle brand, it's very apparent in vacuums. So most of the tool brands out there make a wet shop vac type of model that's battery powered. Most of them have a small handheld one. Maybe it has a stick attached to it as well. Do you remember when, if you're as old as me, do you remember when it was the cream colored ones that looked like this that just hung up on the wall and charged? And when you took it off, maybe it vacuumed for 2 or 3 minutes before the battery died and it didn't really do a good job. Well, now they kick butt because you have the tool battery that is supplying a ton of juice to this, and as that tool battery dies, you just pop another one in and you can keep going. So that's the beauty of these things. But Ryobi is going more at the homeowner. So Mosquito has some inroads in some other vacuum products, but they're very commercial, especially when you think about the price tag on them. Ryobi is the only company that's making household stick vacuums for carpets. They're making shampooers. They're making a pet stain remover, and all of them on battery power. So to me, that is them wanting to incorporate their batteries into normal people's everyday usage, everyday life. That gives more value to that brand and that battery because not only are you using it on your power tools, but I can bring it in and use it in here. And once you start using one of these and realize how long they can last on these tool batteries, it makes for a better experience compared to that old, horrible stick vac that I used to have. I had to talk about this one. This one does fall more into the tool category, but crafting too. Lots of crafters use glue guns, and this is a hot glue gun. I own a Christmas light company, and I use these all the time, and typically we're up, on a 40-foot ladder, and we have a big extension cord hanging off of our glue guns when we need to use them, and then if you forget, they go flying off the ladder and you have to come off the roof to get them. So when I found that Ryobi had these, I went and bought 10 of them. They were the only company, other than like no-name things on Amazon, that made one of these. Now Bauer came out with one I think a year ago, but Bauer and Ryobi to this day are still the only companies with hot glue guns that are battery powered. I love this tool, and all 10 of them are still kicking like 7 years later. So decent product. I highly recommend these. I am on the high delicious list for mosquitoes, and I live on wetlands, so I have lots of them at my home. So I bought this about a year and a half ago because the big garage door off camera here, my family goes through several times a day, and inevitably they get in. So I literally run this every single day, and it does its job well protecting me. So It is battery powered. It actually runs for about 6 hours on a 2.0 battery. It has a light up at the top, and it has a timer for how long you'd like for the actual zapper to keep working. It works best when you turn off all the lights and it's the only glowy thing in the room, and it works very well. So if you're somebody like me who's the main course for mosquitoes, this might be something for you to take a look at. So let's talk about power generation too. You could obviously have a gas or diesel generator that's going to produce electricity for you. I live in New Jersey and we had Hurricane Sandy knock out our power for 2 weeks. That was an ordeal, and I pretty much spent every single day driving half an hour to get gasoline, and it was not very safe, P.S. And so I pretty much spent all of my day every day just going to get gas to keep the generators going so that our fridge worked, some air conditioning and stuff. Nowadays, I look at things and I say, you know, there are battery-powered generators, in air quotes, battery power stations that almost all of the companies are coming out with, whether it be Ryobi or Milwaukee or DeWalt or even Ego with their outdoor power tool batteries. They even have some inverters. It's basically an inverter. It'll take this and convert it back into 110 power so that you're able to run household appliances or power tools or whatever off of that. These are silent. They do not produce any fumes, so you can have them inside. Let's say you're doing it in a work site. You're able to have it right there with you and not have to run 100 foot of extension cord from the generator to whatever you're working on. It's also available to you in an emergency. So, you know, if you already have a whole bunch of power tools, having one of these at your disposal is really nice if, you know, random tornado strikes, power is out, you're able to run out to the garage, click these in, and then maybe run that sump pump that really needs to run down in the basement, or else your basement might flood like me. So I really see a lot of value in these. I actually was thinking about it, and I don't really use my generator that much. I have a solar system and a battery wall in my house too. So I downsized to this one a few years ago, and now I think I'm downsizing again. I decided while figuring out what to say here, I'm going to sell this generator and I'm going to go buy one of those systems that I just showed. I'll make another video on that. Maybe I'll buy two and I'll put them through their paces. Another inroads for Ryobi is in the cleaning sector. So they have all sorts of new cleaning options, whether it be for your car or your bathroom. You can have rotating bristle heads that swap out to different heads as you need them super easily. You have power washers that are battery powered, which that's an interesting one, I have to say. But, you know, there's definitely some use cases out there, maybe gutter cleaning. Then there's some interesting sites that also sell refurbished and factory blemished Ryobi, Rigid, and some other brand tools. I found this website, and they actually have physical stores too, and I got some crazy deals when I looked. They change all the time, and I looked right now. I didn't see anything super great, but you know, you kind of have to watch out. I got this electrostatic sprayer for $9 for my wife. And what this is in her classroom, you get a lot of little kids that do this and this. So every few days, she just puts some cleaner in here and sprays down her whole classroom with this. This is like a remnant from hardcore COVID cleaning. So nobody's buying them, so they were just selling them all off for $9 a piece. So we have good use for it. It got me some husband points. I also went and bought 3 of these foggers. I have wetlands, lots of mosquitoes, so I spray for mosquitoes all the time. But what I really wanted was the batteries. This was $30, including a battery and a charger. So what I did was I kept one for me, but on the other 2, I took the battery and charger out and I sold them used on Craigslist for $20 a pop. The people were happy. I got batteries for $10 and a charger, so it was a win-win for us. So there's definitely some cool deals if you want to check out that website. Every single tool brand has a plethora of lights in all sorts of shapes and sizes. So most contractors, we all own these lights, and we know the value of them. They're pretty good, especially when they're running off of our tool batteries. They last for a very long time. So there are a lot of homeowners, though, that surprisingly don't have one of these flashlights. You might typically be sticking with the little AA battery light here. These really are great, and you should have these in your emergency kit. They run for an incredibly long time on these big batteries. If you are somebody who doesn't have one of these and might pick one up, I highly suggest, even though like this one's my favorite from Milwaukee out of like the 8 that I own, I like ones that can run off of a battery, but also have a power plug on them somewhere. So this, which is one of the cheaper ones from Ryobi, my Mosquito, of course you don't have to get something this big, but I can run it off of a battery, but I also have a power cord coming off of here too. That flexibility gives you more use cases for it. So I think that's what you would want to go for if you're going for your first one, of course. And pick it in whatever brand you have tool batteries for, because every single brand has a ton of these lights. Radios and fans are fantastic for emergency kits, of course, especially for hearing like emergency data. But man, it is hot out just lately. New Jersey is 98 degrees right now. That's way hotter than we usually get. So fans are a godsend. My son's just graduated middle school, and my wife and I had these, and everybody was looking at us super jealous while we were sitting there with a fan on us. It was still horrible out, but it made it a little bit better. These were like 25 bucks, so they're awesome. This one I just use at a party. It sits on top of a bucket, and so it siphons water out, so it's a mister in addition to a fan. That was pretty cool. And it's all on battery power, so it's great for picnics, beach, party, all sorts of stuff. So this was the big hit with the captain when I was in Puerto Rico. He was telling me about how for water, they need electricity there. And so when they don't have electricity, he has a 50-gallon barrel that he goes and fills up. He puts it in the back of his truck. He fills it up at a local freshwater spring. He then brings it back, and he uses a car battery with a pump with a solar panel to bring the water up to the top of his house to another barrel, and then he can use that for his toilets, his shower, washing clothes, the sink, and even boil it to be able to drink it. And I was like, oh, well, I have a Ryobi water transfer pump that I use for my pool. It plugs in, but it's also battery powered. He was so excited. He immediately ordered one right away, and he's probably going to order more than one. The reason for that is he trusts the reliability of the tool battery to give him power when he needs to. Whereas that car battery with a trickle charger with a solar panel and stuff, he's like, sometimes you don't know what the deal is, cloudy, whatever, the battery's dead, and now I have no water going up to my roof. So this was an option that would give him reliability in what he needed to do in an emergency. And being able to use it all the time, just being able to be plugged into, big win as well. Ryobi actually has multiple models of this. There are a few other companies, like Milwaukee has several different water transfer pumps. I can empty out my entire pool in about 6 hours with this. So it's not an industrial gas-powered version, but it is something that will crank out a good deal of water, especially maybe if you're in a flooding hurricane type of emergency. This might come in good use for you. Lastly, I wanted to give a shout out to Mosquito, because they're probably the only other major brand that's really coming out with other types of non-tool products. They have heated blankets. They have a refrigerator, freezer, cooler that runs off of batteries, water kettle to boil water, with great in an emergency, coffee maker, and then even a microwave. The microwave to me is crazy, because usually you need a full 15-amp breaker for a microwave in your home. So to be able to run off batteries is awesome. So whether you're in an emergency, all of these things are great. Or if you're going camping, or if you're just a contractor and you want to keep these in your truck or your trailer so that your employees can have a hot meal in the middle of the day, pretty cool. So again, nothing in this video was sponsored whatsoever. I'm not even putting affiliate links down in the bottom. It's just literally I had this conversation with this Puerto Rican boat captain, and it really made me understand how much these products mean to him and his family in times of no electricity. I also brought over a Ukrainian refugee family to live with me to escape the war over there. They've gone back, and they still only have intermittent power all the time, and they have air raid sirens going off the time. But they say that they're trying to live their lives, even though there's fear of death right around the corner and lack of power and things. So these types of products really make the world of difference to people in situations like that. Jamaica and Texas just got hit by a hurricane yesterday. So if you don't have an emergency kit, I highly recommend you get one. It doesn't have to be like a pre-made thing. It can just be things like this, in addition to food and other supplies. So if something does happen, and things happen, you have these things around you. So, think about your tools that you do have, what platform you're on, and take a look at what other types of products that platform has that maybe has dual purpose that you can use in case of an emergency. I expect Ryobi to continue expanding into the home. They really seem to be going after your typical homeowner, maybe not as much as your tool person with these types of products, but then that brings you into the ecosystem, right? And I even see stuff like Mosquito making microwaves that are battery powered, coffee makers, tea kettles, stuff like that. So I expect a lot more from a lot of these companies. And hey, it's great for camping too. So I hope you got some cool information here, and maybe you saw something that you didn't know existed. If you did, I hope you'll like and subscribe. That's what really helps out my channel. And of course, stay safe in the shop. I'll see you in the next one.